Welcome to the Voice of CX Africa once again for our very wonderful episode. Today we are going to follow up from the sessions we've had in the previous episodes, and today we are talking about a very important aspect. But before I go right ahead, I'd love to introduce my co-host, Laura Mende. Laura, do you want to talk to the audience?
Yes, I'm super excited about this topic, the employee experience. So it's something that I'm very passionate about, and I live by every single day with outstanding solutions. We do recruitment day in, day out. So I'm excited about this.
Thank you. Yeah, so today it's very important. Stephen Kagami, once again, is your CX futurist. I'm here basically to just have a conversation with Laura about a very important subject, employee experience in an African context. Many of the times we try to overlook that and think that customer experience can do without the employee experience. That has never happened. The balance normally falls from internal employee experience giving you a very good customer experience. So Laura, this is a conversation we all love to engage and have to interact about. But I would love to understand, Laura, employee experience. We've heard about customer experience in our previous conversations. Why is it important? And why is it that brands are not giving it as much attention, yet it's what drives and moves the needle? So just give us a brief about what is employee experience and how is it important in our context of building sustainable brands?
Yeah, I want to start off with a quotation from Richard Branson where he says, happy customers create happy employees create happy customers. Now, what does this mean? It means that if I'm coming from a place of feeling engaged, motivated, valued, because we talk about valuing the customer, but I, as an employee, I feel valued, then I'm more inclined to give it my best. I'm more inclined to give service excellence. And what does this mean for the business? If I'm giving service excellence, then it trickles down to your return on investment. That means you'll see more profitability. And I think recently there's a statistic that came out that employees who are engaged, they are more likely to drive 20% customer retention, right? So we can see clearly that if you have a happy team, then you will have happy guests, and then you'll have happy bank accounts. What do you think?
I mean, that for me explains it all, Laura. You've actually put it so well. But I would love to understand, how do I make sure I have the right employees in place? Because before we talk about employee experience, I need to make sure I bring them into the door. That's a question that I would love you to help me, break down. And I mean, from my pattern, observation, I've noticed that we are having very many challenges in our businesses because we did not recruit right.
Yes.
We try to think that it's like marrying a woman and thinking that you're going to change them.
Oh, yes.
I mean, that's like the perfect analogy I can give.
Right.
Like you get someone into your life and you think that, okay, I think I'll try and change them to kind of fit my kind of persona
you're looking for.
You're looking for. But sometimes it's very hard. Actually, many and most of the times you're going to struggle to do that.
Yes.
So I want us to like have a discussion on how do I get the right employee into the room, and how do I make sure I retain them or even make them better? Because you bring in someone and then you make them a better product than they came in the first place. So Laura, just kind of walk me through, because I mean, you've done a lot of recruiting. Laura, that's like your cup of tea, like you do a lot of recruiting. What is it that you look out for? I mean, from the point of need recognition, like a company X wants to get a particular talent from the pool of people looking to work for them. What is it that starts that journey? And can you just walk us through the thought process?
I mean, recruitment is, first of all, a two-way traffic. The employer is looking for a specific person with a specific skill sets or knowledge or experiences to be able to fulfill a specific task in the organization. And the employees themselves, they're also looking for a specific company with a specific set of values or salary packages to be able to come and work for you. So when we go to the employer's perspective, you first need to define what is it that you need for your organization. Who is it that you need? So I always say you need to create like a task list. What are the tasks that you need to be completed? What kind of person do you think would fit to complete these specific tasks? And when you're thinking about this person, you need to think in terms of their attitude, number one, because when you find the right attitude, everything else can be trained. Skills can be trained. So you look at the right attitude, you look at the knowledge, you look at their skill sets, you look at their experiences and their adaptability. So to me, those are the 5 go-to things that I would encourage any organization when they're doing recruitment. First, do you actually need the staff? Because you could be finding yourself in recruitment, but you actually don't need. We always try to encourage organizations to think where one person can wear multiple hats.
Yes.
Why would you need maybe, for example, an accountant? I can't even think of a good example right now. But what I'm saying is that we need people who can be able to wear multiple hats. But the only way you can get these people who can wear multiple hats is to hire them for their attitude.
Yes.
Because they'll be able to adapt to your environment, they'll be able to learn different skill sets, they'll be able to blend into the different scenarios of your organization. Now, that's just the employer's perspective. When you're recruiting, those are the things that they're looking for.
Yes.
Now, when you go back to the employee themselves, we need to ask ourselves, what is it that I'm looking for from an employer? We talked about survival.
Survivor, yes.
Right? That I'm only looking for a job because I need to
survive.
I need to buy bread and butter for my family. So I'm not thinking beyond that, but we need to revisit that. That when you're looking for a job, what do you hope to gain at the end of it apart from a salary? And I would love to get your input on this one because we had such a good conversation about this that I feel like you have quite a lot of weight to put on this.
Yes.
From an employee perspective, what is it that we should be looking at beyond a salary?
Yes, I mean, first of all, you need money to pay your bills.
Money is important.
That's very important. But again, Laura, looking at what you've just asked me, or given in terms of a picture, that this is a two-way thing. Like you're not going to drive one way and be like, okay, the employer will determine who gets into that. But also there's a decision-making process for the person joining the company. I mean, from a personal experience, which I think doesn't go well for others. I mean, with bottom line, you want to make sure you survive. You want to make sure this brand that you want to work for can cater for your basic needs and maybe give you a surplus for you to invest, if you will. But when you're looking at long term, beyond survival, what is it that I want to become? Because I mean, we love the titles of I work for this brand. There's something that comes with brand association.
Exactly.
To know that I associate with Laura, I mean, everything that Laura represents will kind of position me a certain way before everyone out there. True. And this is going to make me feel a certain way. So there's one thing that I would want to look at if I'm choosing a brand to work for. One, how am I going to achieve my personal goals in terms of career?
Yes.
If I start off as a junior clerk, how is that going to make me progress from just being a junior clerk? Do they have like a career progression ladder? Can I really rise up the ranks from just being a frontline staff to now being a line manager, or being, sitting in the senior management meetings? Yeah. Because you want to make sure it's going to challenge you to grow. Right. Apart from just earning a salary. Because I mean, as you continue to grow, there's a salary you're going to earn. So you also want to look at the culture, like, does the company allow me to do they recognize growth? If at all I'm doing my best, how am I recognized in that company? Because I think that's something that many people overlook, but it's very important in my decision-making process. That if I give my best, are they going to, what do I get in return? I'm not saying that should be your inspiration to join, but you want to look at a company that celebrates people that go an extra mile. Yes. So I would want to understand what's the culture of the company. And I think, Laura, you had mentioned something to do with, recognition. Yes. Do they recognize, talent, people that are doing exceptional work?
Their level best, yeah.
Because that kind of motivates me to understand that this company does this. Because some people actually just love to travel.
Yes.
To just hear that this company actually gives you an opportunity to travel to different places. That
Yeah.
could be a decision, a factor to inform my decision. So
Yeah.
Laura, for me, beyond that, I'm looking at who do I become after 5 years working with this brand? That's very important. So that's something that I'll be looking at.
I mean, that's now you, of
Yeah,
course.
that's me,
But then the
yes.
majority of our audience, what do they look at? They're
Yes.
looking at the money.
The money,
How much
yes.
are you getting paid? In fact, usually, personally, when it comes to interviewing, if the first question that you ask me, even before we start the interview, is how much are you going to pay me? For me, it's already a disqualifying factor. Why? Because to me, it feels like money is the only motivator for you, nothing else, right? So we need to look beyond
The
the
money.
money. Like you said, your career growth, being associated with a certain brand, all these things are other factors that people can consider when they're looking for a job. Now, when we go back to the employer and them designing the employee's experience, we talked about first knowing if there is a need of hiring the right staff, then outlining the specific job description. What is this person going to be doing when they come to my workplace? The specific values or mission or code of conduct that your company has, so that when this person joins us, they know that there's a playbook, that this is how we work around here.
Yeah.
So when it comes to employee experience, again, I go back to now, when you put out the job advert, where are you putting out the job advert? Who are you attracting? What kind of wording are you using in your job advert? Because some words that we use, they're discriminating.
You're right.
They're unconsciously, we have unconscious bias without knowing. That, for example, you put on a job advert that the person needs to have strength and muscles. Automatically, a lot of people will think that's a man's job. But perhaps you didn't intend for the advert to be for men only, but it's because of the choice of words that we put in our advert. So when an employee is looking at a job advert, they're already making a judgment. They're already thinking, okay, do I fit? Do I not fit? Do I feel like the experience that I will have in this company will be what I am envisioning? So once the advert runs, we come now to the next phase of now receiving application. That can also make or break the person's experience. I sent in an application to your organization, and then my email somehow just vanished. Nobody ever got back to me. How would that make you feel?
I mean, you would feel sad about it. Like, okay, so meaning whatever I did not amount to anything.
And why do you think companies don't reply to all these emails?
I think because of the volume. That's one of them. Because I've noticed, I think that's why some companies would prefer to work with third parties to help them manage that traffic, and then just kind of sieve and get them people that they feel are perfect candidates for, working with them.
Exactly, because for one job advert, you get over 300 applications when you need one person. So you're overwhelmed with a number of email applications, and then you already disappoint your future employee by not responding to them. Imagine like if you had the role reverse, that it's a customer who's sending you a booking and they never got a reply. Automatically you lose that customer. So it's the same with the employees. Automatically you lose good talent because you just never got back to them in time or on time. And then there comes the interviewing phase. How do you host the interview? You told me a very funny story about the interview you once had. Can you tell our audience about that?
So, it was all tied to the conversation we were having about company culture. Like, you can tell how a company does their processes and systems based on how they conduct themselves. So, as called for an interview, it was a virtual interview. I applied, and then they're like, we are considering it for virtual interview. So this virtual interview, I was right on time, got onto the call, and then I had chicken crying in the background, making noise in the background. And I was like, so how credible is this company?
Exactly.
It shows how much they treasure the moment that they have created. Like, if at all I can have an interview in a place that is not convenient, that is not conducive for the interview, that means I'm not respecting the person that took off time to actually get into a room that was silent.
Quiet.
You actually gave me the housekeeping rules. You told me, make sure where you're seated, you have very good internet, the room is very quiet, and make sure that your cameras are on, everything. And this person gets on and their cameras are not on.
Okay, yeah, chickens in the background.
Chicken is making noise in the background, and you're like, is this where I want to work?
Exactly.
Is this the kind of people I want to associate with? So that was for me a turn off.
Exactly, and
It
that
was a
puts you
turn
off. That's part of the employee experiences.
Yes.
Because also research has shown that 60% of employees lose interest in a company because they never got back to them in 10 days.
Yes.
So you find my experience, let's say with your brand, when you put out the job advert, I felt it was discriminating. Then I said, you know what, maybe it's just my own biases. I will apply. When I applied, you never got back to me. Eventually, you probably got back to me 2 or 3 months later. When you scheduled the interview, you had chickens in the background. Making noise in the background.
Yes.
Or worse, some people, the employer themselves, are a no-show.
Exactly.
You tell me a certain time, I've invested or booked my time just to meet you, and then you don't show up.
Wow.
And then you don't even have the courtesy to apologize
That's true.
for not showing up for the interview.
true.
What kind of experience are we creating? Fast bad impressions.
I know.
So again, out of desperation, the person will proceed on to the next
Yes.
phase. I will listen to the interview with the chicken saying, come again, sorry. We have our interview just like that. The next phase now comes on to the offer letter. Technically, normally, the offer letter should be like the 72-hour rule.
Yes.
That you should get back to the person within 72 hours with an offer or no
Exactly.
offer. Right? So here I am waiting again for an offer letter, which probably takes another month or two. And remember, we have to remember, job seekers are looking for jobs
They're looking
everywhere
You're
else.
right.
They're not only looking at your company. So you find that you're losing talent because people dropped out based on the 10-day rule that you just didn't get back to me. So I dropped out. I found company XY because they were fast and responding. They had a conducive environment. I like the way they value their culture, and I'm with them. So as employers, we need to think, what kind of first impression are we giving even before the person walks through our doors? Right?
Laura, just to maybe interject at that particular point, do you want to tell me if there's anything that you define as a standard for the recruitment timelines? Because I think every company, based on the size, they have a particular way they want to recruit
Yeah.
whoever they want to recruit. Do you have sort of like a standard or best practice that someone should have before they even put out an advert? Because sometimes someone does it and they don't know that they're going to get like a flood of applications. And then before you know it, they're not able to deal with it.
Yeah.
And so it's giving them a bad image.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you like have a picture of what's the best practice?
I mean, I think you already answered this earlier because one of the ways you can decide to go is to outsource your recruitment.
Yes.
Find a company that is actually specialized in doing this so they manage all this communication for you. Number two, we're talking about AI and automation these days. You have things like, what is it called? Recruiter Expert, something like that, which are AI tools basically that help you screen through the noise because not everybody meets the general specification of your requirement, which goes back to the job advert itself. Usually the general rule is the very key important things that you need in a person are the ones that need to appear at the top of the advert.
You're right.
The
You're
top 3 or top 5 things are the very key that you need. The rest is like a good to have. So you find sometimes maybe we're not aware that we put the very key things that we need in a person there at the bottom of the list. Like you have, let's say, a list of, 8 different
Yes.
things that has the minimum requirements.
Yes.
But then number 8 is the one which is most critical for you. So you need to analyze that. What is the most critical for me?
Critical,
what is
yes.
make or break? It's a deal breaker for me. So you put the top 3. Because I see some people put a bachelor's degree. Is it really a must for the person to have, let's say, a master's degree? Can they do it with the right attitude? Can they be trained to do the job? Then if it's not, then that degree or whatever education certification might not be the first priority
You're right.
that you put out on an advert. So you have to really assess, what is it that I'm looking for a person? And then when now I'm getting this application, do I have the systems and tools to help me screen through these
Yes.
applications? There's this application tracking systems that read the keywords,
Yes.
which now point to the job seekers that there is machines that read only specific keywords. So that means your CVs need to have these keywords there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they automatically get disqualified.
Yeah.
And then after you receive these applications, how soon do you get back to the person?
Yes.
Do you let them know?
Yeah.
usually when you put out a job advert, you put like a deadline. During this deadline is when you're just receiving application. And then some companies have automated the process and said, if you don't hear from us within 2 weeks, then that means you consider your application that it wasn't successful. So this is a form of automation so that the person knows that, okay, unfortunately, I didn't get the job. For those who qualified then, you need to schedule as quickly as possible because there's a lot of talent. And high, good quality talent doesn't last very long in the market.
Right. You're right.
They move very fast. So if you're looking for this top talent with a certain knowledge, skills, experiences, attitude, then you need to move fast.
You're right.
The general timeline is basically any recruitment, if it goes beyond 8 weeks, it's too much.
8 weeks.
8 weeks is even too long. At our Sunny Solution, we usually try to do it to 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
In
a
4
month,
weeks
pretty
from
much.
the end to end. We've done the interviews, we've done the background, we found
Yes.
you the person. You just need to give an offer letter. So and then the follow-up then. After we do the interview, the 72 rule, that I need to check in with you. Even if you didn't get the job now, I tell you, unfortunately, you are not qualified for that position because of A, B, C, D. There were people with a skill A, B, C, which were very critical for our job, for this particular role. You let the person know. You don't leave them in a black hole where they just don't know what happened to them. So just that human relationship, making somebody feel that they are cared for, that you went out of their way to call them back and say, listen, as you know, we're just filling one role. You're on our top list, however you didn't make it. Get back to the person. Then after the person who was qualified, give them that offer letter
Yes.
as quickly as possible. Because again, this person might be considering you and someone else.
Exactly.
So they're weighing their option. And here it comes down to now, I guess, money.
Yeah,
who's,
money.
who's
Yes.
giving the better package, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, now we come on to the onboarding.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm excited to come work for you. How do I feel those first few days, the first
Yes.
week, the first month,
Yeah.
up to the 90th day? How do I feel? And that brings me to the topic of culture,
Culture.
which you're our master on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think culture can make or break an employee's experience?
Yes, it's amazing. I mean, Laura, you've literally just, in a very succinct manner, you've actually broken down the journey that a company goes through onboarding the person they're looking for. So now that they're into the door, you brought them, what exactly do you have to do to make sure the integration into your company is very seamless? Firstly, there's what we call orientation. Orientation is very subjective because many people have an understanding of what orientation is, but they don't actually do what orientation is supposed to be.
Very true.
I'll give you an example of a company. It's into food and beverages. It's more like it's a restaurant. It's called CJ's. CJ's, I think I always like talk about you so very much because your culture is very good when it comes to onboarding. That once someone is into the door, they take them through a 6-month orientation.
6 months,
6
not even
months.
3.
For them, it's
6 months.
6 months.
Great.
So in other words, you're going to be operating in the shadows. You don't go directly and start working, on customers. You're going to work under supervision, but you're going to undergo a particular training period. You have to take off that for you to now be sent out as a fully onboarded, employee. So for them, that's how for them it's 6 months. They don't mind whether you leave or not, but for them, they focus on we want you to make sure you understand our culture. That when I'm not there, I'm very confident you're going to do exactly what I would have done if I was in your place. So for them, their focus is we want to make sure we infuse you with our culture. We infuse you with what we represent. We infuse you with how we work. You talked about the SOPs. These are things that people do not understand until you have to paint a picture for them. So talk about the company vision, talk about the company mission, talk about the values. What do we represent out there? What informs our decision making? Why is it that you're the best out of the thousands of people that that applied for this role? So to make you feel like, okay, yes, it's very important to understand why you're here in the first place. To know that I'm an accountant, I'm a front desk officer, I'm a supervisor, I'm leading this department. This is what we expect of you. Because before someone signs a contract, it's important for you to have sort of like a conversation. You talked about that JD. People put a JD clearly. But again, beyond the JD, what do you expect from me?
Exactly.
And I think that's where the supervisor of that particular department comes in. So I've given you the core values. I've taken you through how the company's ethos, how we operate.
Right.
And now I'm going to expect your line manager or anyone that you report to now give you the hows of how we operate within that department. And that has to go down to our standard operating procedures, to how we resolve conflicts here,
Yes.
how we communicate. Because communication defines the identity of any brand.
Yes.
Because if your communication is very haphazard, you tend to miss out on what I would define as the soul of your brand. Laura, if an outstanding solution communicates in a way that is not consistent,
Yes.
when I come in, I'm going to communicate in the way I know how to communicate.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you have to really be clear on this is how we communicate. This is the official language of our conversations here. I mean, this is the second, just in case things are not clear in this one, but at least you have to be clear on that.
Right.
And that is given by the person that I'm going to be reporting to. What is the hierarchy of communication? So in case I'm not able to solve a problem at this level, what's the next phase
Right.
of solving it? So like you break it down in all the details that this person is going to have to acquaint themselves with that. And it's not going to happen in a very short time. You have to unpack that in a phased
small
manner.
bite size, yeah.
Yes. And then you have to check and see, are they picking up? Give them a grace period and be like, okay, this is how we want to work. And then measure them based on how they're progressing in terms of adaptability. You talked about adaptability.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so for me, in a
I like
nutshell, that's
that,
what I
yeah.
can say in terms
I
of
like that because now that I'm at your foot, I need to understand how you operate. We need
Exactly.
to stop this analogy that just because you're a waiter, you
Yes.
should know how to do your job. It's not
Yeah.
about knowing how to do my job, but it's about knowing how to do my job with your specific brands, with your specific vision. So you outlined it very, very well. Now, on the topic of culture, going back to Richard Branson's quote, happy employees equals happy customers. So how do we make our employees happy? How do we keep them engaged? How do we keep them motivated? Because at the end of the day, I think it's an African thing. We just want money. We want more money, more pay.
We're very transactional.
That's all.
Yeah, we're very transactional.
So even if when you try to do all these other things, I was telling you the story where I tried to do all these other things to motivate my team, but they're
Yes.
like, why are you investing so much money on a team building excursion? You could have
Yes.
given me that cash instead.
Yes.
So let's talk about motivating and engaging our teams.
So, Laura, you've signed the contract right now. You're now in. You're all in. I'm here to make sure
Yeah.
I add value to the company. I'm here to make sure I give the customer the best experience. But what is going to sustain me there is how you treat me.
Exactly, yeah.
It's how you treat me. Laura, if I'm not treated well, then I will feel detached from the brand.
Very true.
So for me, it all starts to, by the time you picked me out of the thousands, there was something about me that you liked.
Yes.
Yes. So we need to have the hard conversation of, now this is now between me and my immediate supervisor. Because
Yeah.
much of the time, people that are in the higher tier of the hierarchy don't get to know what's happening down here.
True.
But the person who gets to interact with you every day will know what motivates you. They will know what you value as an individual. They will know what annoys you or snaps you.
Yeah.
So I feel like understanding, now this now goes back to the person that is immediately supervising. Your role is basically to understand, who is this person that I'm supervising? Beyond just the expertise, who are they?
Yeah, I mean,
Because-
that sounds
Because-
ideal, but the reality is I don't think this person has enough time to invest in getting to know over, let's say, 200 staff.
Laura, I understand that.
Yeah.
And that's why leadership is very important. Leadership allows you to connect with the people that report to you. There are different ways to do that. Some companies have tests, personality tests. Get to know your people. And this is done
Yes.
from the HR department, the
Right.
people and culture. So you want to make sure that, okay, these are people that behave this way. And therefore, to make them happy, this is what I need to do. The first thing that makes people happy is a very convivial environment for them to operate.
Right.
If at all the environment I'm working in does not allow me to express myself in the way I should, that means it stifles my productivity as an individual. So Laura, I'm going to make sure I create an environment that makes people produce and be able to deliver. One, flexible schedules. That's very important, Laura. There are people who feel like they need a work-life balance. you
Well,
know.
it depends on the industry because the
Yeah, Laura.
hospitality industry is a little bit tricky. to
Right now,
have that.
I'm just trying to talk about, creating the ideal. I know what's happening is basically different, but we need to actually step up our game. Okay, flexible. Like, look at this person. They have a family. Maybe they do not have a family, but they have things they value. Maybe they value personal development. So they're going to every evening, maybe they go out to learn a skill. So if at all you're the kind of company that, of course, they agreed on a certain amount of money you're paying them, but you don't give them time to get to do other things after work. Like when they leave work, and they just fall off.
Yeah.
Go to bed and
Knock
wait
out.
for another day. That way you're not going to retain them for a long time because they'll realize that they're becoming, it's routine.
Yeah.
You want to go to work, after work, go back home, sleep, wake up, go back
Do the
to work.
same, yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's environment. Like, how do I create an environment that makes someone feel like they look up to Monday
Yes.
every other time? Yeah, that's like a conversation we have to have. I know our time is fast
I
spent,
know.
but Laura, you want to tell me something about that before we close?
Yes, I mean, of course, every company should try to find in their own ways how they can engage and motivate their staff. Because there was a research that was done, and they found like 40 to 50% of employees are disengaged.
Yes.
Disengaged.
Yes.
So they're like almost like robots. They're just in, out. Like, I don't really care beyond my salary. And that's when you come to, at the end of the month, like, if you haven't paid me, like, yo, where's my money? Like, I'm not engaged. I don't care what's happening to you. I just want my money. So we need to make sure that our staff are engaged. I mean, if I give a simple example, like a small company such as mine, we try our level best. We give the 13th salary, I call it, at the end of the year, You try to give people like 2 days of mental wellness. Like, you don't need to be sick. You just need to tell your supervisor that you are not up to par today and you would want to stay home and reflect and recharge. And we give you those 2 days just like that. We try to empower our team by giving them training so that they can advance in their career, because we always say knowledge is not something that I can take away from you. Once you have it, it's an asset that you can use it anywhere else in the world.
Exactly.
So we try to empower you that when you leave Outstanding Solutions, you don't leave the same person in terms of your knowledge. We've upskilled you. We give you the team building retreats, We
Wow.
give you office lunches. We give you, of course, the mandatory 28 days holidays. We give you the 10 extra days on Christmas so you can spend time with family, which is paid with that 13th salary. Spend it how you can. So those are just small ways.
Yes.
And also recognizing, let's say, the star of the week. We recognize them by giving them small incentives like I'll buy you a coffee or a lunch or give you 1 hour off earlier from work or working from home privileges. These are just simple initiatives that any company can pick up to just empower and engage the staff. But at the end of the day, you always need to do a checkup of your staff. How are they feeling on a weekly basis? Have a human conversation with them. Kagame, how are you today? What has worked this week? What hasn't worked this week? What can we do to make your life better this week?
Yes.
So these conversations are very critical. Our time is up.
Yeah.
However, I think we're going to pick up this talk another time.
Sure, we have to.
Yes.